our next speaker is Nikki Jackson, who's been helping us move today. And she's been a health and well-being professional for over 30 years. And she'd like to talk to us today about paying attention to our bodies and what they're trying to do.
Thank you. So I'll just say a tiny little bit about myself. Some of you will know that I founded Yoga Focus back in the early 1990s when I was working as an OT in the NHS, not taking people into linen cupboards like Michael McCann was saying, but working with their stress. So that's really what my job was then. I'm also a national teacher trainer for the British School of Yoga in yoga therapy. So that means that I train yoga teachers how to manage people in their classes that are coming with chronic health conditions. And I've taught yoga, mindfulness and yoga therapy in this Chippy Norton area for over 20 years now. And I'm noticing a growing, worrying trend in the people that tend to come to yoga classes nowadays. People are stressed. We live stressful lives. They are anxious, maybe. They're feeling low in mood. They're feeling the pressures of work. They're feeling family life pressures. Their children are under pressure at school. Maybe they're really getting very worried, concerned about global affairs, environmental issues, politics and so on. And they're coming to me because they're feeling something in the body. There's that stiffness that we were talking about in the little exercises, stiffness in the shoulders, the neck, maybe there's some pain in the back. Maybe they're feeling exhausted, they're not able to sleep. But the body's saying, you need to do something, but they're not quite sure what. And people nowadays are too busy living fast-paced lifestyles to really wake up and attend to their health. And yet the body is very wise. It's saying, stop, something has to happen. You've got to do something. Who would admit here today to suffering from stress? Okay. Tell you a bit about my stress later, my right now stress. But yeah, I mean, we all suffer from stress, don't we, to a lesser or greater degree. And stress is actually a good thing, or can be a good thing. We need stress. We need to have a bit of stress and a bit of adrenaline to get us going, to get us, achieving our goals. But stress that is prolonged and underlining and never really goes away is the stress that we need to really wake up to. And maybe you already know, sitting here right now, that you are suffering from some kind of health condition. It may be the day-to-day ones that Juliet has already mentioned, or it may be, asthma, maybe heart disease, irritable bowel syndrome. You're suffering from pain. Migraines is another very common one. Maybe depression, or you have sleep difficulties. And all of these conditions are affected by stress. And we need to really listen to this and bring some tools into our lives that can help reduce our stress. And who knows that within this audience today, if we can gather these tools, we may kind of reduce the risk of any further serious health condition, maybe even an imminent heart attack. So I've given my presentation a title today. Because we're in this lovely theatre, for those of you that know this theatre, we all love it. Oh, what's happening?
Other way.
Doesn't work. Which one is it? The bottom. Right, okay, thank you. So yes, because of the theatrical side of it, Shakespeare, very wise, he said, to be or not to be. And that is really the question in my presentation. My presentation is about mindfulness. I'm a mindfulness teacher. And it's all about kind of being in the moment and less caught up with all those worrying thoughts that preoccupy our minds. There's going to be a little bit of theory. I'll touch on a bit of theory. I'll give you two or three case examples, and there'll be a bit of a practical element at the end. And hopefully, by the end of it, you will go away with some extra tools to help manage your stress, to leave the mind much calmer and clearer, more focused. And this tends to rub off on the people around you. So all those people that get stressed around you at work, you're going to start to kind of rub your stress-free management onto them, or the people at home. So it's a win-win situation. Okay, so I like to start this by posing the question, does anybody know how many thoughts neuroscientists say that we have per day? I know one or two of you know this, so let's see if somebody else knows. How many thoughts as human beings do we have per day?
10,000.
10,000. Okay, we have 10,000. I'm going to hold it there. It's actually approximately 70,000 thoughts per day that we as human beings are having. That's a lot to me. And the really interesting fact that neuroscientists are saying is that of those 70,000 thoughts we have per day, 80% of them are completely untrue. They have no factual basis, and they are mostly negative. 80% of those 70,000 thoughts per day. So to me, they are a complete waste of time, and we need to learn to deal with them. We are busy practically in our lifestyles, and therefore we're busy mentally. We're also busy mentally, and we're giving our minds very little time to rest. We've become human doings rather than human beings, and we need to just be much more several times throughout the day. I love the Buddhist analogy that our minds are really like cheeky monkeys that are darting about from one tree to the other, just all this chitter-chatter going on in the head all the time. And we need to learn to rest that cheeky monkey mind. So instead of pushing, hard work all the time, we just need to come back into that resting mode. Okay, so what is mindfulness? Well, mindfulness is awareness in the present moment. Not worrying into the future, all of those thoughts that we keep buying into. We don't know if they're true or whether they have any fact, but we tend to just worry into the future. Or we ruminate into the past, if only that hadn't happened, or why can't this be the same again, kind of thing. And we do it non-judgmentally, without judgments. So we accept what is in front of us in the present moment as it is. We train our muscles. David trains his muscles. I think we've all seen that. Or a lot of us, or some of us train the muscles in the gym regularly. We clean our teeth when we wake up in the mornings. We brush our hair. We even tend to our car by maybe putting oil in it, or taking it to the garage for an MOT. The mind needs care too, and training, and we don't tend to do that. And when the mind is focused, it becomes less preoccupied. And when it's less preoccupied, we've got that kind of time to kind of look at thoughts and think, well, is this thought true? Is it worth buying into? Or is it one of those 80% that is untrue, negative, and not worth it? So again, Shakespeare, another quote, there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So I just want to explain what happens if we don't train and care for our mind. And this is part of the theory. Ooh, what's that in there? Primary and secondary suffering. So primary experience is the experience we're having right now, in the moment. okay? And the secondary experience is all the reactions to that primary experience that we layer on top. All our judgments, our thoughts, our feelings, our kind of analysing, worrying, trying to fix things, catastrophizing. And they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, leading us into an overwhelming state of stress. I'm standing on this stage in front of you right now. Actually, I'm not feeling as bad as I thought. But standing in front of you all is my primary experience. And actually, I'm managing it okay. If I was to start thinking, what if I don't finish on time? What if all the slides go pear-shaped? What if people start falling asleep? Then I'm starting to get a little bit more stressed over and above an already relatively stressful experience of standing in front of people. And when that starts to happen, that escalation of the layering on top, all these extra thoughts, it starts to affect the body. The heartbeat will start to raise. My mouth might get really, really dry. My stomach might tense up. I might get a lump in my throat. I'm starting to feel the physical effects of stress. And if I don't do anything about that, then they get prolonged and it starts to affect the organs and the systems of the body, and it compromises the immune system. And that will lead us into ill health, in towards disease. And I really like that word disease. It's dis-ease. It's the opposite of ease. Okay, so when we're at ease, we're relatively well. When we're not, when we're not at ease, we veer towards disease and ill health. Okay, so my first case example is my youngest son. He has my permission to talk about him. I can feel myself getting a bit choked here. It always chokes me when I talk about him. He suffered a major depression between the ages of 16 and 18 due to the stress he was experiencing in taking his GCSE exams. It started with him experiencing neurological dissociative seizures, which is quite a mouthful, but it basically means that the body just collapses. It's not like fainting, which takes a while. It's as if you pull a plug out of the socket and the body just collapses. I'd find him around the house many times like this, or even in the street. His nervous system was so charged with nerves and stress that it just had to cut out, thus the seizures. His secondary thoughts were all the, what if I fail my exams? What am I going to do with my life? I'm going to look really stupid. They kept escalating out of proportion, overwhelming. His cortisol levels, the stress hormone, peaked so high that the only way they could go was to fall really deep down, taking him into depression. He was critically ill. He gave up eating. And at his worst, he was 45 kilograms at 6'1". I'm 65 kilograms, and I'm 5'10". So he was really, really skinny, and he couldn't stand up unaided. We gave up everything as a family. I gave up my job in the NHS, and for 2 years, we were with the primary experience. We were just being with it, not trying to slip into secondary experience or suffering, the reactions of it, trying to fix it, worrying too much. Of course we worried, but we just let everything just stay calm, and gradually he unraveled. And I have to say, and it will choke me again, he's awesome. He's just awesome now. And he's learnt how to train his mind, to care for his mind. He's emotionally very mature. And he's now just spent his second week at university reading psychology. So my dear dad is my second example. Not so happy ending. He suffered a fatal heart attack 26 years ago. He wasn't aware or equipped to deal with secondary suffering, which escalated out of proportion when he was faced with massive financial losses from the Lloyd's insurance crash in the 1980s. We've only had some mindfulness tools to deal with all of his secondary suffering to a stressful primary experience. And my third example would be Supermum, and I can see that there's probably lots of Supermums in the audience. I think I can relate to Supermum as well, but Supermum was actually a client who came to me with severe migraines and back pain. She was somebody whose to-do list was never ending. She kept adding it on top each day until she was really burdened and her body was crying out to stop. The migraines, the back pains were the kind of warning signal to really tend to her lifestyle. In each of these cases, the wise body is saying, stop. These kind of symptoms that we have are really wake-up calls. Stop. We need to listen to the body and just rest, be for a while. The exhaustion funnel explains this, how we get into this state. When things are going well, we've got a kind of balance between work, chores, rest, and a bit of play, a bit of fun. And then something happens and we have to do away with something. Well, it's not going to be the work, the chores, maybe not the rest. It tends to be the play, the things that we enjoy. And then something else happens a few weeks later and we need to do away with something, so the rest goes. And then we're just living a lifestyle with work and chores. And then something else happens and the chores go. And that's when the house becomes so untidy, dirty, everything's in chaos, because we're just working to exhaustion. Okay, so we need to check in with ourselves and not get caught up in all the secondary suffering. We need to bring our minds back into rest. And this next slide, one after that, should explain it well. It's Dr. Paul Gilbert's emotional regulation system. And there are 3 zones. There's the red zone, the blue zone, and the green zone that we tend to move in and out of. So we're moving fluidly. The first one is the threat self-protection zone. Then we have the achieving, and then we have the green non-wanting affiliative, the rest zone. So the red zone is the threat, feeling under threat, needing to self-protect. This is our flight and flight, as Juliet was mentioning, where we're trying to seek safety by running away maybe, giving in, withdrawing, attacking self or the others, shutting ourselves off or rejecting others, and looking for protection. The hormones secreted are cortisol and adrenaline, and the sort of feelings are anger, anxiety, and aversion. The achieving circle. This is our incentive, our drive force, where we're pursuing, we want to go get things, we're striving. That's the supermom. Sorry, the red circle would have been my son, by the way. This is supermom. The hormone released is dopamine. It's the kind of addictive drive, go get, needing more. And the feelings are excitement, pleasure, buzz, and vitality. And then we have the green zone, the non-wanting affiliative. This is where we feel safe, we're relaxed, we're not really needing anything, wanting, we're just being. We feel close with others, kindness, fun. The hormones are endorphins, oxytocin, and the feelings are contentment, safety, connectedness, and peace. So we need to keep coming back into the green circle. If we stay stuck in achieving all the time, like supermom, we're going to crash. If we feel under threat, so anxious, angry, again, it's going to affect our health. So we need to keep moving back and back into the green circle. Take those moments where you can just relax and be for a while. Okay, so in mindfulness, there are really, to me, 3 main tools. These are fundamental tools that you learn at the beginning, and that is you learn to really listen to your 5 senses. Your sense of sight, look around you, see what's around you every day. Try not to pass things by on autopilot. Sound, listen to sounds around you. taste your cups of tea, your food, smell your food, and that sense of touch. Often when you have one hand on top of the other, it's very warming and soothing and helps to bring peace. The body, really kind of tend to your body, learn to listen to the sensations that are inside, and the breath. How many minutes have I got?
14 seconds.
Oh. Okay, I will leave it there then and finish off with, actually, I'm going to come back to that. I just want to conclude that my pledge is going to be to come back into the green circle as many times as you can. The being circle, to rest the mind, to stop this whole cheeky monkey getting out of hand, to be a human being as opposed to a human doing. And I will now finish with that quote from Shakespeare: to be or not to be, this is now your question. Thank you.
Would anyone like to ask Nikki a question? Yes, hello, ladies in blue.
I was just wondering what your kind of go-to breathing technique is if you're ever feeling stressed.
Well, if I'd had 3 minutes left on the end of my talk, you would have found out.
Do you want to take them now? And talk about them?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Well, what I could do is do the questions and then I'll do the breathing
Okay.
as an exercise afterwards.
Yes, okay, because we got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to
Okay.
do that one afterwards. So I'll do that for you afterwards. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, hello.
Hi. Wait for the microphone, I'll shout, sorry. Good. Brilliant, thank you. Can I just refer you back to your definition of mindfulness being acceptance of what is? I'm struggling with that definition compared with Nick, enthusiastic and completely zealous non-acceptance of his medical condition and doing everything to defeat it. So I tend to be the personality that was side with Nick's efforts to overcome all odds, and I can't see how you would then be in a calm place accepting the situation as it is if you have that type of personality.
Okay.
Great question.
Yeah, it is. I was just about to say it's a great question, and I might bring Nick on to help me with that one. And it's a really, really good point, and so many people query this from the mindfulness point of view. What it really means is that what we tend to do is to block things out, and I think Nick, you even mentioned this. You know, no, I haven't got an illness. No, that's not how it is. And we tend to sort of either run away from things, not admit them, delude ourselves, etc., etc. So that quote, which comes from John Kabat-Zinn, who is the founder of all the Mindfulness for Health from America, is about accepting, in a sense. We need to turn towards it. We need to kind of look at it and therefore not run away or delude ourselves or wish for something different. We need to turn towards it, accept it as it is. It is the primary experience. Does that kind of answer?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Do you want to add to that? Or?
No, that was perfect.
But it's also about balance, so that when you're troubled, as you were saying, that you want Nick's model where you're confronting these issues. The idea with mindfulness is also that you don't have to be consistent in one thing or another, but you can introduce mindfulness to create the balance. Is that right? Is that a way of...
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is, yeah. And I think, what you're raising is that mindfulness is everywhere. It just is. It's about waking up. It often should be called awarefulness, and a lot of the mindfulness, practitioners say this. It's not a brilliant word to describe what we're doing. Actually, awakefulness, awareness is another way to describe it. And it is everywhere, at every moment of every day and every night. Do you have one more? Or?
Sure.
Could I just add to that, to the question? In my mind, it's about the acceptance is about acceptance of the moment. It's not about the prognosis or the future or the past. It's the present moment. And if you can stop your mind from going into the future, what if, or into the past, why me? It's acceptance of the present moment right now, and that's the key.
So it's giving your monkey mind a break for a temporary break
Yeah, absolutely.
from
Yeah.
unbelievable stress.
Yeah, yeah, well said. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Shake, we'll have breathing.
Yeah, instead of the shake, it's never going to be a shake. So shall we do a practice? Yeah. So we'll do a breathing practice. But for those of you that haven't done this before, we use the breath as a kind of anchor for our thoughts that are probably all over the place sometimes, and we're just helping to settle them down, a little bit like leaves on a blustery day, settling down after the breeze is gone. So just sit back in your chair this time, and if you're comfortable, preferably close your eyes. And if everybody takes a deep breath in through the nose, and breathe out with a long, slow sigh. And again, a deep breath in through your nose, and breathe out with a long, slow, releasing sigh. We'll just do one more deep breath in, and breathing out with a long, slow, releasing sigh. Just letting go, letting go, letting go. And when you next breathe in, just have a sense of the chest and the belly expanding to accommodate the breath, and subsiding as the breath leaves the body. And bring a sense of curiosity towards your breathing. Feeling kind of expansion inside the body and space as you inhale, and release as you exhale. You might notice with curiosity a little movement in your shoulders. They roll up and back as you inhale, and they roll forwards and down as you exhale. Now just bringing your awareness further inwards, and see if you can feel the motion of your breathing. Be curious, interested in the moment. And you might sense that the breath is wave-like in motion. As you breathe in, it's a little like a wave rolling up along the seashore. And as you breathe out, it's a little like the wave drawing back down again into the sea. Might be helpful to have an image of a wave, and maybe even noticing the wave-like sound to your breathing. This breath and the next breath and the one after that. By now your breathing is starting to deepen. When the breath deepens, the mind and the body respond, they calm down. See if you can feel that. You may even notice that there's now a natural space between each part of the breath. So a space after you inhale, before you exhale, and a space after you exhale, before you inhale again. Each new breath, calm, relaxed, unhurried. And your breathing is with you every moment of every day and night to turn towards. Okay, so just now bring your perspective outwards a little and see if you can listen to all the sounds that are currently around you with a sense of curiosity. Very slowly open your eyes and start to look around the room, seeing all sorts of different colours, shades, shapes. Look about you, this fantastic theatre that we're in, again with that sense of curiosity. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.